So this is the self-development with tactics. Book.
So this one's gonna be again something new, but we're gonna talk about that. But I'm then gonna hopefully be able to relate it to some self-development things. So we're gonna see how this is gonna work out, because I'm really not sure about that. What I know is that we're gonna talk about some great designs, that we're also gonna see some great designs, and I'm actually pretty pumped about that. Like I'm actually really looking forward to that. But yeah, there's gonna be more of the intro as always, I would say. And it is still broken. Well, thanks. And it's nice. But yeah, with that being said, hello, welcome back to this episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I am indeed really looking forward to this thing, because I think it could actually be something that's quite cool. I don't know if it's gonna be just so really fucking cool. But we're gonna see, we are actually gonna see what this episode is gonna be all about, And I've decided to do something new just because I didn't want to go through a bunch of new, just Reddit questions once again. And I also didn't want to go through another article, because I've already recorded an episode with an article or with actually some book notes. And I kind of felt like fed up, I guess it's called. I'm actually not quite sure. But it is like, well, I don't know. I kind of get bored of those things relatively fast, I would argue, but I'm not quite sure. Like, I kind of feel like that I have to change some things up, Also maybe because, like, even though, like, in the recent times, it's actually been like, okay, I'm getting some views on my videos, and I'm really feeling just good about that. Like, I like that, I like to see that this is hopefully helping somebody. But yeah, but as you can see on just in the whole way that I'm always doing the videos, that it is more like a really arty thing. And I am a graphic designer, if you didn't know. I'm attending a graphic design school. At this point in time, I'm gonna graduate the next year, actually. So I'm only having like half a year left, something like that. But yeah, let's go through a bunch of designs. I'm, by the way, on the designinspiration.com site, I guess it is. I think it's .com, I'm not quite sure. And it is actually kind of the go-to place for me to just get inspired and to get some new ideas for the postings, and to just, to just get some new ideas so that I'm not always doing the exact same things. But of course, like, everyone is having their style, and everyone is just doing some things in a particular way, and all those things. Therefore, like, yeah, you're probably also going to do it just in similar ways from time to time, which is really, really fine. The only problem that I'm having is it going to be age restricted if there is some things going on, and I do not really want to just actually kind of, why is there just so many kind of naked people? I don't understand it. It is something that you've probably also seen, like you can see here, that using script fonts and using some like drawn stuff in terms of like it looks like it is drawn. It is very popular at this point in time, or it has been popular. Nowadays, I kind of feel like that it is just moving to just more like, yeah, kind of just more to the flat edge or to the flat side of the whole spectrum, I would say, which is really fine. It really feels like very nature-like. And, it kind of reminds me on having some nature-like things in your room. I think that it could actually be something that could help you with relaxation, especially having plants, and I've already, I think, been talking in an episode about the effects of having a plant on your desk in an office, and in your office space. And I think they actually said that it is making things way better, so that you're going to be able to be more concentrated and all those things, which is actually something that's quite interesting, only because of a plant, probably just because it is green, but also for the air in your room. It is just pretty nice for the air, just because every plant is just kind of recycling the air and putting new fresh air out, which is amazing, which might also be kind of a reason to actually have a plant in your office, especially if there are a lot of people inside, but also to maybe just feel better, in the office, which is, at my point of view, a really big part of being productive and being able to do great work, I guess, So yeah, as we can actually see there, green things, green with written type So actually seemingly handwritten type, I like that stuff, I really like that. And I actually have to say that reconstructing some work that somebody else did makes sense. I've always been like, well, why should I be doing that? Why should I be doing the exact same thing as somebody else already did? But I think it makes sense to just learn how, because most often it's going to be something that you find very aesthetic and find really nice and find really good. And modeling that and just doing that is like, it makes sense, so that you actually see how this person might have done it, which kind of leads me to actually modeling other people, and actually doing the exact same thing as some other people did, I guess, which might be like, okay, this is a successful person. And the only problem there is that only because something worked in the past doesn't really mean that it is also going to work in the future, so that it is also going to be like working for you, especially as well, only because something worked for somebody doesn't also necessarily mean that it is going to work for you, especially not in nowadays time, which is, I think, one of the reasons why having a lot of different informations maybe could help, so that you can actually decide for yourself what is probably going to work, and also just trying out. I think most often there is no way around trying out things and seeing if things are working or not, and all those things. Like trying out the thing is just always a pretty good idea and a pretty just useful thing as well, I would say. But modeling what somebody did to see how they did this, or how he and or she did it, might also make sense, But yeah, let's see what we are having here. Let's scroll through that. I really hope that I'm not gonna get just flagged for this fucking video. But it's about art, and art is fucking okay. Art is really fucking okay to just also show some nudity, I guess. But I don't know if there is some rule in, especially on YouTube, In terms of the podcast, like there's nothing that I'm actually worrying about, especially also just because you can't see anything. On the other hand, on the real other hand. Like, yeah, some old school type restaurants. I really like them. I really think that they are looking quite nice. I believe that that it just, it feels somehow great. It feels somehow great to see some old things like that. But it kind of reminds me again on the same thing. Like, only because something worked in the past doesn't necessarily mean that it also gonna be working in the future or in the present. And just trying out new things as I'm just seeing it with, I kind of feel like about the bridge, the bridge that you can see here. It is something new. Like I haven't been seeing something quite like this, like the style and whatever. There is 100 pictures in that style, but just trying out new things. It is so fucking important. Also I think for one own's motivation, I would say, and also kind of being able to be consistent, I guess. When you're always doing the exact same fucking shit, and I know what I'm talking about it. I know what I'm talking about just because I've been doing the exact same fucking shit, going through articles and book summaries and whatnot for quite some time, and I get, I don't know, I don't feel good about it any longer, I hope that I'm able to help somebody, but it is like really stressful to record the episode, and it really isn't pleasant to record the episode then, it just is more like a drag. It feels more like I have to do it. And it is, I want to do it, but it's feeling more like it's just not feeling good. I'm not feeling good about it, not in terms of might it actually help somebody, but more like it's actually not that fun to record this episode, even though it heavily depends on my constitution in terms of how I feel, because on some days I'm just speaking better than on some other days, and I don't know why. It is like a pretty fucked up thing, but yeah, still. One of the problems actually that I'm also seeing with maybe just getting inspiration is that it might be the case that you're just gonna steal something, even though you kind of don't really know that you have been stealing something. You're getting you're getting an idea and you feel like, well, it is a fucking great idea, but in the end you just see, okay, I've gotten this idea just because I've got a bunch of inspiration on the web and I've basically just stolen something. Like it is the exact same thing on the web as I have also done it. And then it is fucked up, and stealing shit and whatnot is something that I do not like. And I wouldn't also suggest, and I would also say, like, just don't do it. just don't do it. If you're just taking something, give some credit to the person that did it. You would also like to have that. And I think it is kind of one of the singular, one of the really rare situations where I have to say that you should be doing these things that you would also like to have or like to get as a favor or back, because most often I feel like, well, and I've been talking about it before, like, if you feel like, well, I like to be hugged, then you shouldn't be hugging everyone else. Just because you think that you should be hugged or you want to be hugged or you like to be hugged doesn't mean that everyone else also likes to be hugged. It also just, it actually could also be the case that they hate it, and if you're hugging them, you're also actually gonna harm them. Or in reality, you're gonna harm them quite, not physically, but they just don't like it, they just don't like it. But yeah, let's actually see, if there's something quite new, quite good. Are you feared of death? Just because I'm seeing it here, there's some sort of a, what is it called? I don't actually know what he or she or it is actually called, I actually don't know. But I'm quite sometimes fear that I actually do not really fear death, I guess, which is something that's pretty interesting, which is something that is like, I don't know, I kind of just don't fear it, unless I'm actually in the position, when I'm in the position of some things might be really fucked up and whatnot, then I do not really feel good about it. Like, no, I don't. But it's like, yeah, it's, I don't know. I actually don't know why. Anyway, these rings that you're able to see, like it's underwater rings basically, and you can do them by laying flat on the ground of a pool, for example, and by just using a very specific breathing technique and or exhaling technique, I would say, you're able to just produce these rings. And I've also been trying to do that, and I've actually been fascinated by these things. Like, it is something that's quite interesting, when I'm fascinated by something, then I'm really kind of working on it, I really am. I kind of get stuck with things, I wouldn't say easily, not necessarily easily, but when I find something that I really am appreciating and that I really think it is something pretty cool and I like to do it, then I'm just gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it until I'm able to just get it to work, some kinda, and maybe this is the exact same thing as I'm doing it on here, with the podcast, that I'm just sticking with it anyway, and which could also be something bad, because it's kinda maybe even involves just not seeing that something isn't working maybe, and you're still just trying it to get it to work in the exact same way, which might be also one of the reasons why I'm trying to do new things, because I really am trying to do new things because also I really get fed up, and it is really not nice to do something that you don't like. I hate it, and it is actually something that I've seen in my internships, that I don't know. It's actually honestly always been something that's quite fucked up. Like, I've always didn't really like the times in my internship. And I don't know why. I kind of have a feeling that sometimes it's been because of the people, but in the newest internship or the latest one that I had, the people were just really fucking amazing. And also the work was quite cool, but I just didn't know why. And I actually should be figuring out what it is like. I should really figure out what it is. Maybe it is just not being in charge, and being like advised by somebody, or that I'm just having to work for somebody, which is also something that I've been thinking about, whether this is the problem there. But I don't know. Like, it is something really interesting. And I think it also comes up to just maybe even self-awareness and just maybe just trying out new things as well. If you're trying out a lot of jobs, then you're probably also going to be able to kind of figure out what is working for you and what things are not working for you. And by the way, I really like architecture. Even though it is like, do I need such a fancy home? Probably not. And actually, do I have to let it built by somebody or by a company, so that I'm actually architecturing it myself, or I'm designing it myself, or in cooperation with an actual architect? Or should I just buy a house that is just already built? Because it's also fine, because why should I be spending the money on letting it get planned and just designing it myself and all those things? Like, yeah, it is quite some time and money and effort. And it's, I don't know, like, of course, having a nice home, I think is important in terms of it being, or you feeling good being inside of it. I don't need a fucking big house. I've never been living in a house. A lot of people that I know, they are living in a house, and they're just used to it. And they say, like, it is something different if you're just living in a house compared to living in just in an apartment, because of course you're having to deal with other people when you're living in an apartment. I just, when I'm doing sports, I am always concerned that I'm just fucking up my fucking neighbors, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to disturb them. I don't want to be an asshole, actually. But sometimes I feel like, well, am I just disturbing them? Am I just pissing them off? Sometimes I actually do, unfortunately. Being alone, just because I'm seeing this picture here, being alone sometimes can be really, really, really fucked up and a really shitty thing, because if there's really nobody that you are just able to talk to, that there's nobody that is actually listening to you and is kind of helping you with whatever, it is fucked up. And it is also really harmful for the psychology. And because it is harmful for psychology, it is also very, very harmful for your body as well, just because they're so correlated. Like, it is insane. It is insane how much of a correlation there is between the body and the mind. It really is insane. And I think you can also see that by placebos and nocebos, that it actually, there is a correlation and there is some kind of a manipulation also going on, that you can be initiating quite on purpose maybe as well, somehow, not really, but yeah, it is it is really interesting, at least in my point of view. Maybe there's one last picture that is quite cool, and that I maybe want to show off. Like, everything that I'm seeing is really cool, but yeah, I would have to actually kind of replicate it just completely to kind of grasp what this person actually did, somehow I kind of feel like, but well. And the summer, let's actually stop with the summer, and the beach and the water and holiday and all those things, just because it is the 23rd of December and I really hope that you're having a good time. This is, by the way, going to be for tomorrow, I guess. So it's going to be for the 22nd of December, and I hope that you're going to have a good time. I hope that you're just really feeling good, that you're going to be able to spend some time with the people that you really like, whether it is your family or not, it doesn't really matter for me. And I really hope that you're just feeling good and that you're happy and that you're just going to have a good day and a happy day. And yeah, I think this is going to be it. I hope that I've been able to just do something that's okay, I guess. I have to think about something new, and I'm already doing something new today, but I kind of have to figure out what I should be doing with whatever I'm doing right here, because I don't know if I'm just willing to do it till the end in this way, even though it really comes up to how I'm speaking today. Like, on some days I'm just speaking better than on some other days, and when I'm not good at speaking, then I don't like it. Then I just don't feel good about it. But it really also comes up to just different things. But yeah, I don't know. I have to figure it out. Maybe I'm also gonna do some gameplay stuff. I don't fucking know. It really comes up to what I'm feeling about, I guess. And what I figure out is gonna be a good thing. I'm actually having a new idea. Yeah, I'm actually having a new idea. It might be about... It might actually be about a speed art, that I'm having a speed art in the background of me doing something, of me designing something, so that I'm actually having a post for the day or a video or whatever. And based on that, I am also kind of, yeah, I'm also just talking about self-development, just about that, Could actually also be working, I don't know, I just actually need something for the people that are on the YouTube video, and I also need something for the people that are listening, so that is working on both sides. But yeah, I'm gonna see you the next time, and therefore I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success, and I also hope that you're gonna remind yourself and you're gonna be remembered. Yeah. 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? And these 3 are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. And yeah, with that being said, I'll see you the next time. I at least hope.